Get ready to find your recipe for a successful real estate lifestyle from America's top expert here at Greenlight REI with your host, Lance Edwards.
Well, hello, everyone. This is Lance Edwards, and welcome to this session of Greenlight REI, where we reveal to you and help you learn the recipe for the successful real estate lifestyle. And today we have a special guest, a special lady with us. She's actually known as the Millionaire Maker because that's what she does. Pretty cool title to have. She lives up to it. Her name is Miss Loral Langemeier, and I've known Loral for a number of years. Actually, I tell you, when I first got started, I was one of Loral's clients. I subscribed her information. It was fabulous. I learned a lot from this lady, and have followed her and admired her for years. And I've come to know her. We're actually become friends now, and I can really testify to her of the quality of what she can talk to you about today, and that is about your money. And she's credentials, go on forever in credentials, but she's a 5-time best-selling author. And of course, one of her books is called The Millionaire Maker. And her mission in life now is to create millionaires. She has a 3 to 5 year plan for you and how to do that. And the thing I love about Loral, and what you're going to enjoy, is she holds nothing back. She's not going to sugarcoat it. She's going to give you the facts about it, because she's serious about putting you into the money, and she's really out changing the conversation about money. So with that, Loral, welcome to Greenlight REI.
Well, thank you. That's a great little introduction.
So I could have gone on, but I want to keep it brief because I want to let everyone get a chance to experience what you have to share here. And so, Laura, I'm going to start off. In this intro, talked about how you're known as a millionaire maker. So give us a little bit of background. How did you get that name, and what are some of the challenges you had to overcome to get where you are personally?
Oh, tons. And it starts with a conversation about money, right? Which is, I didn't really have any. I grew up in a farm in Nebraska, typical, upbringing, traditional upbringing, where, work hard, get a job, blah, 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 that whole story. And so at 17, I got the book Think and Grow Rich, and then that's probably what changed, like it's available to anybody. Anybody can become a millionaire. So I switched everything, went to school to get a finance degree, and really just studied money and how people become millionaires. And probably more importantly, or just as important, is why so darn few people ever get there. And I think a lot of people make it really, really hard. So I've just systemized how it's really for centuries. People can become millionaires the same way. You make a bunch of money, either at a job or really you got to add an entrepreneurial venture so you get deductions. And you learn how to live corporate life, I call it, right? Entities, trusts, and you learn how to invest in real estate. I became a real estate and gas and oil millionaire. So I did it in 6. Once I got serious about it, because I'd studied it for so long, and I worked with the Kiyosaki group from 96 to 2000. I just really saw the gaps. And people talk a lot about, what you get to do when you're a millionaire, but not how to get to a millionaire. So I just documented it. 2005, got a big old contract with McGraw-Hill, and they said, you've been making millionaires in real estate and gas and oil in different ways, like document it and write a book. And I laughed. I totally laughed. I thought, I don't know how to write. I mean, I can talk really well, but I don't write. And they said, we'll give you a writer. And there we began. So I did a 3-book series in The Millionaire Maker, and that was my contract to write the book. So I did it, and I've never looked back. That's been fun.
So I didn't realize all that's fabulous. And so one thing about, so in doing this, Loral, so what makes you different from other people? Are you smarter than everyone else? What makes you so different?
I think I'm more persistent. I think I always still laugh. I always say, you stand in line and get a whole bunch of gifts from God. I stood in brain line for quite a while. So I don't know if that's helped me or, I'm kind of stubborn around that. So I don't think I'm smarter than anyone. I think I'm extremely persistent and have extreme discipline. I'm going to say in my work ethic. Like I know what I want. I'm a huge purpose-driven, for big goals. And then I've got into it and then became really a single mom with Logan, and then got married, had another child. So for the most part, I've raised my kids as a single mom. And I could tell you most women, for example, don't think they can do it. So I have a huge passion for that. And then everything that I teach, and you know it too, because you teach, and we live in a very aligned, I call it lifestyle, is, here I have this big finance degree. I left college with, almost 6 figures of debt, of student loan debt, and still wasn't taught what I teach now, which is how do you live corporate life and an LLC and S corp. The 2018 tax code is extraordinary. The rich are going to get rich, poor are going to get poor. It's how it's designed. So once you get over and understand that there's a system for how this money and how the flow of money happens in your life, I think it needs to be taught in 6th, 7th, 8th grade. So it keeps me passionate, is teaching the teenagers. They get to come with their families for free, because the parents got to take this conversation into the house. So I don't know that I'm smarter. I think I just really very practical. I think maybe that's the part growing up on a farm, because you've seen my work. It's just very, very systematically, blueprinted. Like, this is how you become a millionaire if you have this in your life. This is how you become a millionaire if you have this in your life. So the Millionaire Maker, which I'm going to give everyone a gift that's listening, it documents 7 stories in their profiles. One family had huge debt. One family was overpaying in taxes. One family had a lot of lazy assets. So from where you are, you diagnose where you are, and the book kind of lays that all out pretty clearly, and then just follow those blueprints. So I think that's what's different, is I'm really the how-to person, because it drove me nuts being mentored by a lot of people that they never gave you a blueprint. They just told you how exciting it was to do whatever they were doing. And then you still are left going, well, how the hell do I do it? So I think that's what I've done different, right?
I think you're exactly right, because let me share everyone. So I think Loral, I can chime in here a little bit, is she's very systematic, and it's the how-to. Matter of fact, one of the first courses I think from you was a 7 Steps book, and it's laid out so straightforward, and it's really what's profound in her style, her teaching is that she lays it out so anyone can do it. So speaking of that, let's get into that. Let's get some of these systems to them, Loral. So what are the 7 steps for anyone to create more wealth every day?
Yeah, I call it, my Millionaire Systems Plan. And then live audiences, I have everybody stand up, and I use this to take a quiz. And when people flunk, they sit down. And, it's interesting, the statistic of becoming a millionaire or millionaires in the United States or around the world, it's still less than 10% ever make it. And so what's interesting is in almost every stage I do for the last, decade plus, about 10% of the people stand. So, standing at the end of the quiz means they're not ready. So the 7 things are your relationship to money. I have a very different approach to that, having been in The Secret. I don't, believe you're just going to, I'm a huge manifester and intentional person, and I teach it that way, but not from the standpoint of just going to sit and journal and think about it and talk about it and have therapy about it. I would say you got to get to the streets and hang out with us entrepreneurs who know how to do it, and we'll show you how to do it. But it's not just a reading thing and a listen to audiobooks thing. You got to really experience this relationship. I always tell people that's the fastest way to know what millionaires think and how we act and how we behave is hang out with us. Because, you can read about it and have a fantasy about it, but you're not going to manifest it into your life properly unless you hang out with us. So number 1 is your relationship to money. Number 2 is you have to know where you are on an ongoing basis, which is really a bookkeeping function, right? You know your income, your expenses, your cash flow, your assets, your liability, net worth, and then know where you're going. I don't call it retirement. Wealthy people don't retire. We have freedom days. So know where you want to go, how much money, cash flow per month. Do you really need? And we actually have a systematic spreadsheet that can back you into if you want $20,000 a month, $50,000 a month, how much do you want per month, how much you think you need, and then we do our magic and kind of back into a formula, and then get working on what I call a gap, where you are to where you want to go. There's a gap in your life, and we know how to fill in those blueprints. And then number 4, which is probably my favorite to teach, is the relationship to debt, because we are taught such a screwed up model around debt, right? That debt's bad. You shouldn't have credit cards. Are you kidding? I mean, I'm in the middle of, and I'm in real estate for cannabis, and I do a lot of that. I mean, I just got off the phone with the guy, our team. We're about to break ground in 2 different markets, and just one of the projects is going to be a net almost $17 million. And we're doing all of it, 100% with other people's money. And we're doing convertible debt. So when you really understand how to use money and use debt, and even use credit cards, I think you're in agreement. Like, I love a lot of my real estate folks will use 0 down cards. We can get them $100,000. I mean, $100,000 is a heck of a rehab, right? And it's a 0% card. Last I checked, that's free. I mean, I'm paying my money 10%. I'd rather have free money than 10%. So people just don't understand debt. So as a vehicle to I call hypercharge your wealth and do a 3 to 5 year fast plan to be a millionaire, You have to get untangled with this screwed up relationship with debt people have. It's, I can't have debt. I can't put money on a credit card. I can't do this. It's like, oh, you have no idea. So I could go on a whole debt conversation for a long time, because now that you know it, right? You know it like I know it. We use it to do everything. I mean, we use it in our life consistently, and most people get scared to death to even go into $10,000 of debt. So we got to fix that. And then the fifth one is being incorporated. You have to have an LLC, S Corp, C Corp, limited partnership, trust, some version of that combination, and usually it becomes multiple versions. And it allows you to have 81,000 pages of tax code. You know, I say if you want to have a job, which I have a lot of people have jobs, Lance, I know you do too. In fact, we share a lot of mutual clients. That's great, but you're the most overtaxed people in the world. So you have to put an entity next to it to allow deductions. That, like on a simple form, if you're just a person who has a job, you legally can't just deduct your car, your computer, your home office, your tuition with Lance or myself, or, I mean, you just don't, you can't go on business trips because you don't have a business to go on a trip with. So that means you're paying everything after tax at the highest tax rates. And so if you're serious, like when Logan turned 18, now he just turned 19, he started 18, I gave him an LLC for his birthday. Then he, as part of, I passed some generational wealth to him early on. So now he has a C Corp and he just got another LLC. Now, does he know what to do because he's at Jacksonville going to finance and accounting school? Not yet, but at least he has a real operating company to learn from. And he has a deductible life. Like, that's a cool one. Actually, Logan's company is sending him to school, and what he can't, that's not paid for in a scholarship, Lance. I don't think I told you that. So his company is paying 100% education reimbursement to send him to school. Pre-tax. It's all pre-tax dollars. And I know there's so many things people don't realize about how money, can happen. And then the last big one is you have to have a team. And you cannot do this by yourself. Actually, I'm sorry, you have to do double-digit investing, then you have to do it with a team. So relationship to money, know where you are, know where you're going, use debt right, live corporate life, get your money invested at 10% or more, and do it with a team. Those are the 7, and it takes a little while to put in place. We're going to send out the Millionaire Maker book. I'm going to send some of the kids' programs out to the folks listening, and then you just got to start. You're not going to get ready to start. You just got to start.
All right.
I could keep going and going. I could keep going and going and going. I know the 7's a lot, so I had to go through it quick.
But that is 7. But I gotta love. I don't know how many moms give their 18-year-old son on his birthday a corporate LLC.
I know, huh?
Nice job. Nice.
I know.
Perfect.
I know. People laugh when they hear that, and I said, if you're serious, like, set them up. They're an adult. It's time.
Precisely.
My funniest joke. I always say, Lance, I laugh. I always tell, parents, I said, if you don't have kids, you should get them. They're tax deductible if you use them right. And then on the other side, you set them up for just an extraordinary life. And it doesn't cost that much if you actually start, but most parents don't start. Like, get your kid a Roth. Like, that's a $5,500 a year, play. Like, come on, people.
Yeah, the whole conversation is around that. All right, so now, you're talking about wealth. Becoming a millionaire means having wealth. So what about for someone who wants extra income, or they want to replace their job income? So I know you talked about this. What are the 5 simple steps people can take to create additional income streams in their life? It's much more cash flow.
Well, here's what I would say, because most people, especially those who have jobs, and I don't say this to be, critical or harsh, but you don't know how the heck to be an entrepreneur, and there's a heck of a lot of work to be an entrepreneur. So pick something easy. I hear people say, I want to do an invention. I want to do a patent. Why? You don't have the capital, the connections, the network to pull that off. Now, if you learned and actually studied, I could teach you how to use other people's money, and there's lots of ways to get it done. So I'm not saying it can't be done. Don't hear that. I'm just saying it's a heck of a hard place to start. The easiest place to start is with a hobby. So I'll use, and these folks, right? They're Air Force, fighter pilots, and now, big Air Force jobs. So collectively, they make almost north of $500,000 a year, which means ungodly tax, which I have to give a statistic because I just looked up the statistic. To be in the top 25% of the wealthiest in the United States, right? Top 25%, you get to say, I'm the wealthy in the United States. You only have to make combined income of $67,000. That's how bad it is. So when they say they're going to tax the rich, they're talking about this Air Force couple. They're not talking about me and you, because we're living, tiny little salaries and W-2s behind our corporate, revenues. So it's a very different model how the quality of money. So when we look at somebody who's got a job and just wants some money on the side, do something that's easy. Like they love to drink wine. So I introduced them to this great, wine club, which then they took further. Now they take people out to Sonoma and they do Pinot Noir specialty wine tours, and they get to write it off. They get to write off their hobby. They can go wine tasting because they're looking for new wines. Now they've actually created a business trip and a business experience and got, and getting to know a lot more awesome business clients. So take the easy stuff. The other one was, teaching flight lessons, is another business. And then obviously they're in real estate. So, because they're a couple, there's two, and because they both have jobs, at least they have, more help. I'm going to call it that. I still think you need to get more help. The biggest thing when I'm asked, what's my biggest mistake or slow down, could I have done it faster, could I do it different, is with better team. And you and I know team and good team, consistent team is one of the hardest things that you're going to learn to build as an entrepreneur. Not to say, I'm just being honest. I'm not saying that to scare you away, or use it as an excuse, because a lot of people use that as an excuse. Well, I can't hire good people. Well, hell, none of us can. We have to go through a lot of crap to get the good ones.
Yeah. So talk about this, because this is what I'm, obviously 100% on board with this. What you're talking about with team. So let's talk about this, Loral. So let's bust this whole notion you're going to do it on your own. This is, this solopreneur notion. You're going to do it all by yourself. And why do you need a team? And then give them the good and the bad and the ugly about when it comes to attracting your team for making you a millionaire.
Man, way back in the day when I first started, coaching to millionaire status, I would tell people, you need this kind of account tax strategist, not just a CPA. You need this kind of, this kind of person. Then you need this kind of lawyer, and you need this kind of person. And the truth is, at the early stages, if you're not in a community of people who are more experienced, then you end up finding a lot of frogs. You find a lot of people who say, oh, I'm great at this, I'm great at that. And the part of that too is you don't even know the questions to ask until you get more advanced and more mature. So hinging to somebody else. I mean, the reason I, also became a pretty, fast millionaire and sustainable are the kind of mentors I picked. I mean, the same, we have, you and I have, several of the same mentors, because when you really get to it, there's only a few handful of us in the world that know what the hell we're doing. And there's a lot of hype in the seminar world and the, rah world of them getting it done, and they haven't done it themselves. So picking a team, the fastest, safest way that I would now tell people, because, it became very clear. I would send my clients out, my students out, and they would cobble together a team. And then they're still in the middle trying to figure out, well, I don't even know how to talk to this team, but glad I have them. I know, glad I have this lawyer, glad I have this, financial planner, glad I have this insurance person. I hope they're all doing what's right. So then I just kind of scratched that. And this has been probably 2006, 2007. And I just found the darn team for you. So I have a whole lineup of tax folks, legal folks, alternative financial planning folks. I mean, I have a whole lineup of just extraordinary folks that I've just put together myself. And it's just more integrated. In fact, we're actually going to be coming out with a new brand around what we're doing, which is called Integrated Wealth Systems, which is how do you integrate that team and know that, that you're in the center being taken care of with the right plan, because there's just so many crappy,
brilliant.
So yeah, it's not aligned. So, in our system now, you could be on a call and your insurance, person, lawyer, alternative financial planner, CPA, and maybe even your bookkeeper, all five. Can you imagine having 5 people on a phone call on your behalf? And you're going to be learning because now they're integrated, right? So you can say, well, that's not what I want in my state. And the tax guy's going to say, but if you do that, then you'll be overtaxed. So now you have these smart people working on your behalf instead of you trying to figure it out. So I think that's also a very unique value we provide, is that integrated team. But you got to start hiring. The first person I would say to hire, and this having worked with me, is a scheduler, somebody to schedule your time and appointments. So you're busy closing business. Whether it's real estate, whether it's, whatever you're doing, you've got to have appointments. If you don't have appointments, you're not closing business, which means you're not making money. And I think a lot of people don't realize you can have a bookkeeper. I was my joke, right? You can have a bookkeeper, but there's no money to count. So hire the right person first. Right? It's funny. I have a bookkeeper, but I don't have a Facebook ad person. I have a bookkeeper, but I don't have an appointment scheduler. So everything that you have to do to make money, you don't have in your life. So true.
It's absolutely true. But I warned you. This is upfront talk. Now, I want to shift here because one thing, because you've got another book out on Yes Energy, and this is on mindset, and this is a big part. Besides having a team, besides having the system, I believe this mindset thing is really important, and I know you do too. So can you talk to about, what is Yes Energy and how does that apply to someone looking to make extra money or create extra wealth for themselves?
Well, you just have to have that what I call that optimistic yes energy. And in the Yes Energy book, there's a whole formula on how to create and live with that yes energy in your life, which means at the end of the day, I mean, you're going to, and I wrote it like just post, a pretty expensive divorce and lost my database. I wrote it on the heels of having some really exciting stuff happen to me. You're all going to have adversity. I don't call it failure. It's adversity. I call it, you're going to get some bruises. And the more bruised you are, and the greater mentors you have to get you through it, the faster you're going to live through it. But you have to retain and stay optimistic about what's possible in front of you. And most people don't know how to do that. So Yes Energy is about that intention that, yep, I know I'm going to get some stuff handed to me, and I'm going to get through it. I may not know how to get through it, but I have a whole team of people I can call, almost on command to get through it when something happens, because it will happen. And you know what's going to come right now, Lance, and it's so interesting to watch people put their head in the sand, is blockchain technology is deep into our economy. It's deep into our economy. It's there's a 50,000, group community just around mortgages, buying and selling properties, and they're doing it all through blockchain, paying 1% commission. And there's shipping departments. There's, the United States government. I mean, blockchain, digital currency, which is how it's going to be, documented and locked up, as well as cannabis. It's coming. It's going to make the .com look like it never even was a blip on the radar from the amount of revenues that are going to be made. And I don't know how many people just act like it's a fad. Like those three things are not a fad. And for those that are in the financial spaces, Logan's, going to Jacksonville University, down in Florida. And, the junior, senior level classes, I've been invited in to speak about cannabis, the myths of it and the business of it. And, they teach digital currency and blockchain. I mean, it's going to replace fiat currency. So I just think there's so much that people need to learn, and you can hang out there all by yourself, but money, you deal with it every day. Now you put your head in the sand and act like, you're just going to walk through life without understanding it, or you better start learning it. So, Yes Energy is a lot of that, just, being optimistic, knowing this is, something's going to happen, but it's going to happen in a great way. And, you have a good team to hold on to. So, you've been around this thing for a long time. I've been around this for a long time, but there's, I think, very few of us that can deliver, consistently and through time. Yeah.
I think you hit it on the head. The things, stuff is going to happen, and it's how you respond to it. It's going to be what distinguishes you from the others who put their head back in the sand.
Absolutely.
When you coin that term, Yes Energy, to me, it's saying yes and then asking the question, okay, now how are we going to do this? Yes, we're going to do it, but I don't know how yet, but we'll figure it out. But yes, you got to show up. And I think it's brilliant the way you present it. I think it's at the core of everyone's success in this, because stuff's going to happen. Stuff is going to happen.
Yep, it's going to happen.
And Laura, you've given a lot of information. You are the fire hose, the double, triple fire hose of information. What you just covered in that short period of time is going to take everyone forward a long way if they adopt and act on it. So I know you've got some resources for people who want to get introduced to you and your systems for our subscribers. Can you share how people can learn more from you?
Absolutely. So I put this cool website together with my team. It's called Just Met Loral, because you all just met me. So it's JustMetLoral, justmetloral.com. And you go there, you're going to get a ticket to an upcoming event. You're going to come out and see me. Very accessible. Love meeting people and hearing what they got going on financially, because we know how to fix it. You're going to get my kids program, Never Pay Your Kid an Allowance. You're going to get some what I call reading rooms. So you'll get several of the ebooks, and then how to interpret in first steps. And for those of you that are more advanced or just want a private session, you can also sign up for a private session there. So it's all right there on justmetloral.com.
Oh, wow. That's very kind, very generous. Thank you. So, everyone, let me repeat that, justmetloral.com. Of course, I'll put this on the show notes, and we'll have the show notes. We have a lot of information covered right there. Of course, I'll have the show notes posted with this, and all that's going to be available at greenlightreinvesting.com, greenlightreinvesting.com. Loral, this has been fabulous. This, I use your reference, your information, your name so much in my own teachings. You set, so much the bar for me and everything you did. So thank you for that. And thank you for everything you continue doing, for sharing it today with us and our listeners.
Awesome. Thank you. And I look forward to getting phone calls and meeting all of you listening. I'll talk soon.
Very good. All right.
Thanks.
Loral Langemeier, the Millionaire Maker. So go take her up on her opportunity, justmetloral.com. They'll put it on the show notes. So for everyone, go to the show notes, greenlightreinvesting.com. You got free resources by Loral. You get other free stuff there. Go check out all the archives. And until the next session, go out and make it a successful lifestyle for yourself. Take care, everyone. Goodbye.
You've been listening to The Expert with Lance Edwards. Let us now blatantly and shamelessly bribe you toward creating your own real estate lifestyle by offering you a whole bunch of free stuff. Go to greenlightreinvesting.com and get you some free stuff and this session's show notes.